Creep, a podcast focusing on anthology horror.
Starting with Tales from the Crypt. Hi, I'm Camp Counselor Lauren.
And I'm your least favorite camp counselor, Tish, DeLano.
What a week.
What a week.
I am so glad today is Saturday, which is also pretty different for us. Usually we record during the week.
Yes.
But this was needed. We tried recording last night, and then about 15 minutes in, I took the headphones off and I was staring at Tish like, nope, there's no point right now. We just need to go to bed instead.
Yeah, we sounded haggard, and we were. We were dying. It was such a long week. Trying to think of positive things that happened throughout the week.
Ooh.
Yeah?
Yesterday, we had a very fancy dinner, and then I got to meet your very nice hairdresser friend.
Yes, my hairdresser, Grace, from the Color Cult. She's the only one allowed to put deadly chemicals on my head. I love her very much. We went to her open house because she was celebrating her 1 year.
Congratulations to your 1 year anniversary, Grace.
Yes. And also, the night before, I got to go do dinner with some of I call them the Murder Squad. They're my pals we met through being fans of another podcast. And we went out and had a nice fancy dinner in downtown Detroit. Food was great. Other happy things that happened this week. Did anything good happen to you?
I went to bed at a reasonable-ish hour most nights. I made it to season 8 of Criminal Minds. That's about it. Nothing terrible happened, but nothing great happened either, other than our dinner last night.
Yeah. A lot of terrible things happened this week, but I don't want to talk about it.
No. That's why today is Saturday. It is a new day. We just watched the second episode of season 2 together again, and we were cackling because we both started noticing things we didn't notice before because we were sitting together.
Yes. Ready to go creeping through that crypt?
I'm ready if you are.
All right.
This is the first episode of Tales from the Crypt that is directed by a celebrity.
Ooh.
It's directed by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, the Governor.
Ha-ha.
I have a creeping curiosity to ask you. In relationships, when you go on a date with somebody, do you have any deal breakers?
I do not like it when on a first date, the person I am out with has their phone out.
Valid.
The only time I find it acceptable is when we're having an argument about who's in that movie or looking up a piece of trivia.
Yes.
If you have your phone out and you're on a first date with me, or really any first couple of dates, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And if you're late on a first date, no, that's it. If you don't tell me you're going to be late ahead of time, like you're running behind.
Yes.
I'm very impatient. I think it's why I'm single.
But also, if they can't communicate to you that they're running late, communication is key.
Right.
I would say my deal breakers, not that it's a thing anymore,
Yeah,
but
you're engaged.
Yeah, I'm
Doesn't matter.
engaged. But when I was dating, not liking cats was a deal breaker because I love cats. I love dogs also. Basically, not liking animals in general, total deal breaker and giant red flag. Hating cats and being like, oh, I would never have a cat. I'm like, cool, then we could never live together because I'm always going to have cats.
True. They're very, very cute. And you have 2.
Yes, I do. And I will say that I had one when I met Steven, and he was like, I'm not the biggest fan of cats. I'm like allergic. And I'm like, I'll give you the allergic part. I'm like, but dude, I got a cat. And he's like, it's fine. I'll deal. I'm just not really that fond of cats. Well, 3 months later, he's like, so I got us this kitten because it was so cute, I couldn't not take it home. And I'm like, awesome. So you like cats now? And he's like, yeah, I think I like cats now.
Yes. That makes me happy.
That's how we got our Phoebe, because she was so cute. And he just went to go, quote unquote, look at the kittens.
Sure.
There's no just going to look at kittens. It's just you go look and then you start grabbing armfuls of them and make a run for the door.
It's true.
It is.
Because they pick you out.
They do.
Which is how I got Lego. I was actually looking at her sister at the Humane Society, and I think her sister's name was Spaghetti.
Oh.
And Spaghetti was really cute, but we didn't really bond. And then I'm looking back into the little kennel thing, and I'm like, well, what about that one? And they were very nice, and they had her all bundled up, and they gave her to me, and it was Lego.
Oh.
And she was squirming around trying to get out, and she eventually got out of the blankie situation, and I was like, okay, fine. But then she started crawling on me like a parrot, mostly because she was trying to reach the top of the poster that was behind me. So she was using me as a shelf, but I was like, okay, cool, so you're my cat.
Yep. Aww. Adoption stories. Ding.
This isn't the podcast you were looking for.
No.
But you're fucking welcome. Tell us your stories in the reviews.
All right. This is Season 2, Episode 2, The Switch.
And this is your synopsis. They say money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you a new face, a new torso, a new pair of legs, and something extra. And that's exactly what our main character, Carlton, does. All in the name of love. But is it really love? Shenanigans ensue, and everybody gets what they deserve.
So this episode opens on the Crypt Keeper getting physical.
He is lifting weights. And by weights, I mean it's a femur with 2 skulls at the end of it.
I would be more inclined to work out if I had weights like that.
I think I would be too. Those are some dumbbells.
Haha. Hey there, people who are crafty. I will support your GoFundMe or Indiegogo if you want to make some creepy weights.
I got $1.
So, and also we find out that the Crypt Keeper has gone Hollywood.
He has a personal trainer.
A celebrity personal trainer. None other than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So Arnold decides that the Crypt Keeper isn't doing a good enough job lifting weights, so he decides to take over the introduction of the episode all by himself.
So we open up on The Switch. We're panning, we're seeing the interior of a home that obviously belongs to a very rich old person.
It's full of antiques. There's a bunch of pills on the place. The oxygen tank that's just kind of there.
He never uses it.
No. And something else that you had pointed out when we were watching it is there's an urn.
Yep, a big ol' urn.
I wonder if it's like multiple people in there because I've never seen an urn that large.
Family urn. Come on, kids. The whole family can climb on in. It's terrible. I'm a terrible person. Anywho, so in the big chair by the fireplace is Carlton Webster, a very, very old man.
And he is staring at a photo of a young woman. And at first I kind of thought, oh, it's his, daughter or something. And maybe she went away for school. Oh, no. Because then Fulton, the butler, comes out questioning what's going on with Carlton.
Fulton is very, very concerned, fretting all over him. He was afraid he was up all night in that room and he was going to catch a cold.
And Carlton says everything is fine, but he's madly in love.
Fulton still looks a little concerned.
Yes.
For valid reasons.
So Carlton confesses that he is madly in love with this woman named Linda, who is the woman in the photo. And Fulton, being the very concerned man that he is kind of like, what? What the actual fuck?
So Fulton brings up some pretty valid concerns. He decides to not touch on the whole potentially 50 to 60 year age difference and instead is like, are you sure she likes you for you or for your money?
And Carlton says that she doesn't even know that he's mega loaded and therefore he'll be able to woo her with just his charming personality.
Good luck there, Carlton. So it's kind of like a reverse Joe Millionaire.
I don't think I've seen Joe Millionaire.
That's a really dated reference. It was this gather around the fire kids for a little story. There used to be a reality show called Joe Millionaire where they picked a random guy, put him in a mansion, and pretended that he was rich, and then had all these girls fighting over him, kind of like The Bachelor style. And then he proposed to the one he picked, and they were supposed to get married. But before he would marry her, he then revealed, I'm actually not rich.
Maybe I do remember that. Was that on like ABC
it was on Fox.
Or something? Oh, Fox. Okay.
Yes, it's trashy. It's on Fox. Shocker. That relationship didn't work out because it was totally based on lies, 100%. Yet it was a very short-lived show.
Would you, pretending for a moment, if you will, that Steven was not in the picture.
Okay.
Would you go on one of those dating shows like The Bachelor or anything like that?
No, because when I like someone and I'm in that lusty infatuation phase, I act a fool. And I do not need everyone in the world seeing me act like an idiot on national television. My mom has seen enough. I don't need I don't need the entire world to see my goobery eyes and goobery eyes.
I like it. It sounds like a candy.
That sounds like an eye infection.
Goober eyes.
Yeah, I meant to say like doe eyes.
No, it's goober from now on.
Yeah. I don't need anyone to see me act a fool over someone on TV.
That's fair.
So, Carlton, I'm assuming energized by love? Question mark?
Yes.
He is acting mega hyper, bouncing off the walls practically. And my only thought was, my note here is, take your freaking Adderall, Carlton.
Carlton announces that he wants to open the windows because once he proposes to Linda and she says yes, she's going to breathe new life into this giant ass house.
Right. And they rip open the curtains. It's straight out of Beauty and the Beast when they start opening the curtains in the castle. Like full on fantastical musical style.
So precious.
Ripping open the curtains. And Carlton proclaims, "Let there be light."
In the next scene, Fulton is dropping off Carlton in front of some flowers, which appears to be by Linda's apartment. Fulton tells him to dress more smart, but I think Smartly, yes. In this case, it would be like him dressing fancier, but Carlton is still determined to keep up with this. Nope, he is just a precious old man who doesn't have any money whatsoever.
But he's still wearing a suit.
Was it a suit?
Yeah, he was wearing a damn suit, which I was like, if you're trying to be poor, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just old man chic regardless of income level, but I was like, he's still wearing a suit. You still pulled up there in a, like, what I believe might be a Rolls Royce. Not a car person. Don't yell at me.
I thought it was a Volkswagen.
No.
It
was a fancy old car. So we keeping it subtle there. So we cut to Linda's apartment. It is full of beautiful flowers that Linda reveals Carlton has apparently been sending her daily to woo her.
So it sounds like Carlton and Linda have known each other for a while. How do you think they met? Because I have a theory, but I want to know if we might be on the same page.
I had that question myself. I suspect that considering that he believes she doesn't know he's rich, so it wasn't like she was working in a hospital or, or a home care nurse or something like that. I would suspect maybe she was a shop girl.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. See, I was thinking that they were at some sort of like community center together and maybe she's like a volunteer somewhere.
Yeah, she doesn't give off volunteer vibes and rich people don't go to community centers.
Yeah, but if he's on the prowl looking for love, he might go somewhere.
Yeah, community centers are typically full of other old people.
Oh, well, that was just one of those things like, how the fuck did you two meet?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself. Like, how did this even happen? And it's just very clear that she's like, thank you for the attention, sir. That's all.
Yep, goodbye. So Carlton proposes to Linda and she says no, of fucking course.
It's her deal breaker that he has an incredibly old face and he looks like her grandpa.
Which is valid.
That is valid.
He looks like a great-grandfather and he sounds like one too.
And much like many old, cis, straight, white men, he decides that there's no problem that money can't fix, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to the car. Fulton is trying to get the tea from Carlton.
Poor Fulton, and he wants to try to cheer up Carlton so bad, and he asks him how's it going with it, how did it go up there, and Carlton says it went perfect.
Everything went perfectly.
Everything went perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong. Nothing whatsoever. It's all
perfect. I thought of a dad joke while watching this scene that I had to write down for you, because I know how much you love a good dad joke.
I do.
Inspired by Carlton. I saw a man in Egypt drowning, but he didn't want my help. I guess you could say he was in denial.
Sorry to ruin it, but that made me too happy.
Yes, that was because I thought, wow, the Nile ain't just a river.
So the thing with Carlton here is that the way and the amount of times he fucking said perfect leads me to believe he is a much better match for Peggy.
Right?
We need to do some season hopping here, folks.
Right? Previous season.
Welcome to Red Flag Manor. What's the name of our episode for?
Yes, there was Peggy who wanted a partner, a very short-lived marriage. She just wanted to get her baby. Think about it. It's perfect. Carlton clearly looks like he's about to drop dead any minute now, especially with all those medications and the oxygen machine. Peggy's wealthy. He's wealthy.
But he's probably shooting blanks, so...
That's the painful irony of nature. Women, as we get older, everything just dries up, withers, and dies. Technically, they could be producing children until the day they drop dead.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
Bodies are dumb.
Bodies are very dumb.
I just want to be a skeleton and haunt people.
So we cut to Carlton at the plastic surgeon's office in the waiting room.
Did the waiting room by any chance give you Netherworld vibes like in Beetlejuice?
Yeah, a little bit. He's in there with a couple older ladies who are looking for I wrote tune-up.
Yes.
Flipping through the catalogs, talking to himself.
And I enjoyed that when one of the ladies caught him talking to himself, she asked him if he said anything, and he's just like, no. No, I didn't say anything. Liar.
And then we're in Dr. Thorne's office, who offers him a full facelift. This man is trying to go all out to make Carlton happy.
Yes, he offers him the following surgeries: tightening under the chin and across the forehead, 2 eye tucks, add new cheekbones, and a chin implant.
Oof, that makes my
painful.
Face hurt.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Which the Dr. Thorne says that will take 20 years off, but that's not good enough for old Carlton. He wants to look 30.
Oh God, he's like 60, 70?
Yeah, at least. It's hard to tell these days because these days, in the 2020s, people who are 60 somehow still look 40, and it's all very confusing. Age is an illusion. Woo.
I mean, time is, so why not?
Right? Basically, Carlton is asking for a full-on face transplant.
And the doctor is like, that's not possible. That's not something that happens. But Carlton pushes it one more time and everything changes. Like, you can kind of feel the tension in the room. And the doctor says, this isn't going to be cheap.
Fun fact, the first full face transplant happened on March 20th, 2010. A team of 30 Spanish doctors carried out the full face transplant on a man injured in a shooting accident.
Holy shit.
It became the first full face transplant in the world. Thank you, Wikipedia. There were partial face transplants before that, and jeebus cripes. If you are sensitive to gross medical photos, don't Google that. It's a little disturbing.
You know what I'm going to do later today when
Google
I'm
that.
pizza? Yup.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I mean, didn't bother me much, but I was like, ooh. But medical science is amazing.
Fuck yeah, science. The next scene, I think we both have some strong feelings about.
Yes. Fulton drives Carlton to what we've both agreed upon is Red Flag Manor 2.
And it's a dark, rainy, stormy night, and there's a creepy new doctor that's in the window. And does this mean we finally get riffraff? Do we get my riffraff references now?
We're getting closer. I mean, an Igor-looking man answers the door. Red flag.
I would love to live in a house, though, that has giant knockers so people will tell me I have great knockers. Because I do.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at a pair right now. Hey-o! Once we're inside the second red flag manor, we see what looks like a typical mad scientist's lair.
Yeah, this is straight up Frankenstein and must be the basement of Red Flag Manor.
Yeah, I will admit, I was really digging some of the decor, though. The fish tank full of severed heads.
I'm here for this.
Yeah, that was totally my aesthetic, but also kind of a red flag.
Like, where did these spaces come from?
Right. And then we meet the doctor, aka a walking red flag.
Yes, with his beautiful giant eyeball glasses.
Yeah, he was creepy. Very, very creepy. After sitting Carlton down and going through what Carlton wants, he reveals that a face transplant is going to cost him $1 million. And Carlton proclaims, $1 million for a simple operation?
And the doctor says, you think faces grow on trees? Which, in, Carlton's defense, there is an episode of Inuyasha where that happens.
That sounds like nightmare fuel.
It's a peach tree. It's a whole thing.
And the doctor reveals that only a small part of the cost goes to him, and most of it goes to the donor.
Yes. $100,000 is for the operation itself, and the rest is for the donor, who we are about to meet.
Meet Hans. Musclehead.
A little bit. He's got great hair, though. Don't forget about his hair.
He's an okay-looking guy. Like, ripped, shredded, clearly a bodybuilder. Not my type.
Nah.
But, I mean, not terrible to look at. I'll give him that.
He's got nice teeth.
He does.
I'll give him...
He's got nice other stuff, which we'll talk about later.
Give us about 15, 20 more minutes, and we will get to the butt of that joke.
So once laying eyes on Hans, Carlton is like, deal.
And here's the other thing, though. So the doctor makes a comment about how he has Hans, and it's really unclear on how they met, but he did say that he is well aware of Hans's genetics.
Because he was responsible for his breeding?
Yes. What the fuck does that mean?
And I was like, okay, well, there's no way the doctor fathered Hans unless the mom's genes are very strong. And I'm like, or did he breed him like stock? Is this cloning? Did he grow him in a lab? So many more questions.
The doctor is married, though. I don't know if you saw it, but he had a ring on.
Oh. I think ring or not, I doubt the doctor you would have.
I mean, he had a certain charm.
In a I want to skin you alive and turn you into a lamp kind of charm. Yes.
I love lamp.
Anywho.
And we're focused.
So we're in the operating room, which does not look sterile.
No, it
Red
looks
flag.
dusty. This
Red
is not
flag.
healthy.
Do you want MRSA, Doc? This is how you get MRSA.
Ugh. So while the surgery is happening, there is a bolt of thunder and lightning, and we go back to the car where poor Fulton, is taking a little naparooskies, and he just jumps up.
Right?
Like something's wrong. What is it? What's happening?
He made Fulton stay in the car while he got surgery. Like, I've had surgery, and, and whoever brought me, family member, partner, whatever, like sat in the hospital waiting room for me. But he made Fulton sit in the car while he had a face transplant, which had to take a very long time.
At least overnight.
Like, didn't even crack a window for the poor little guy. Poor Fulton. He puts up with a lot.
In the morning, Carlton comes back outside, but you don't see his face yet. The camera was very careful about that. And Fulton's talking to him like, how did it go in there, sir? And as Carlton is getting into the vehicle, Fulton's like, what did they do to your face?
Yeah, he is clearly, once he gets a good look, he is clearly wigged out.
Do not blame the man.
Yeah, and then once we see it, yeah, it is unsettling. Don't like.
Nope. So Carlton goes back to Linda. He surprises her with flowers again.
And a brand new face. She's
surprised and vaguely impressed, and then she goes back to calling him old.
Yes, Linda reveals another deal breaker. He's got an old man body, and frankly, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, but Linda, don't you have more questions about how the fuck he got a new face?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I would have asked more questions, but also to be fair, I mean...
Linda's a bitch, whatever.
Yeah, but also, I mean, frankly, if a creepy old man had been hitting on me and then he shows up at my house with a new face, I'd probably be like, yeah, the facelift is nice and all, but I'd find an excuse, probably, because I'm not good at directly letting people down.
Oh.
That's why I'm really glad I'm engaged, so now I don't even have to shoot people down. Hey, I mean, when I'm feeling sassy, I'll give you every reason why I am not interested. And being engaged is the last one. But when I'm not, it's just like, oh, sorry, engaged. Please leave me alone now. Okay, never speak to me again. Bye.
Bye. So Carlton, though, is still determined as fuck, trying to get Linda to marry him, or maybe at least go out with him. And back at the car, Fulton is trying to talk to Carlton logically and have him think things through, like, how can you be sure that she's going to love you?
He's confident. Gotta give him that mediocre man confidence.
Because if he loves her, truly that is all that matters.
Right.
Not her feelings.
Nope. And also, campers. Just a little life lesson, little nugget here of knowledge for you. Don't go changing yourself for someone to get someone to love you.
It's not worth it.
It's not. Like, guess what? You don't like my shirt? Fuck you. You don't like my
nice
face?
Shirt.
Right? You don't like my face? Go to hell. Don't change yourself for people.
Don't be Ariel. If we're going to keep talking about like random Disney references, don't change yourself for a man.
Don't pull a Little Mermaid, gang. Find someone that loves you for you.
Mm-hmm. Fishy tail and all.
Insert the after-school music, and now you know. Copyrighted music.
And knowing is half the battle, and 25% red lasers and 25% blue.
Go, Joe. Anywho, so we head back to Red Flag Manor 2.
Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah. It is going to be $2 million for new arms and a torso. Seems kind of cheap to me. Like, it's not even $1 million an arm. It's like $500,000 per arm, and then like $1 million for the torso.
Yeah, I mean, I don't math. I know that this is not our forte, but that sounds right.
I mean, that math sounds solid.
It does, because to take a man's body, you must pay dearly.
Yes. And when Carlton keeps objecting, the doctor has he has such a great comeback. He says, perhaps next time you'll know better than to grow old.
Ooh, doctor, you're kind of a dick, but you're not wrong either.
Listen, Doc, you think we have any control over this? Do you think I want my knees to ache when I sit in a chair wrong? That's right, kids. As you get old, random things will start to hurt. Never mind the whole like aging process, the external part. It's the internal that's gonna get you.
So I turned 30 this year, but my knees have been hurting me for at least the last 5 years.
Yeah, my knee pain started, like, aside, never mind the knee injuries from when I was in dance and all that stuff. My knees did not start to bother me until I hit my late 20s. And then I was like, oh.
I do not like this.
So Carlton goes under the knife again, and once again, I'm grossed out. Those surgical tools do not look like they were cleaned between surgeries, and I'm sorry, you're a doctor. You should be well aware of bloodborne illnesses.
Also, I think for a surgery that hardcore, you probably need an assistant, a nurse, another doctor.
Right. I didn't see that Igor type dude down there. So, I mean, he was doing all of this himself.
I would have liked to see more of that Igor guy.
Right?
He seemed charming in his own way.
So, yeah, never mind the fact that this surgery is happening in an underground dungeon. I have a lot of questions about it. Seemed like ripe for medical malpractice is all I'm saying.
But we do also know that it cost the other doctor at the regular surgery place quite a pretty penny to even get this doctor's name. So he can afford being sneaky, I suppose.
True. And ta-da! Surgery's over, and Carlton is shredded.
Oh my god.
Like abs of steel.
You could grate some cheese with those abs. So now they're at some sort of like bodybuilder beach thing.
I believe it's called Muscle Beach. I mean, I could be wrong because I've never been to the West. Okay, that's wrong. I have been to the West Coast, but I believe in LA that there's this whole thing called Muscle Beach, and it's where people used to go and like work out outside. I don't know. It was just in a lot of movies.
I'll go with it. I know there's a park nearby that has equipment, but I've never seen anybody use it. But it's also like in the middle of a residential area, so I wouldn't want to really use it either.
Right?
Linda is into Carlton right now. She is drooling over him from over at the fence.
Yeah, like muscled bodies are nice to look at, you know? I mean, and it is impressive. Like, listen, like I said, you can impress me by just opening the pickle jar. I'm like, ooh, you strong like animal. You know, I mean, but here he is doing like chin-ups and pull-ups and other exercises that I don't know what they're called because I didn't do well in gym class.
Same. I can maybe do a, what's the thing when
a crunch?
Yeah, I can maybe do a crunch, but I would rather eat a crunchy crunch bar.
Nestle Crunch Bar.
We might have to go to the gas station after this for a snack.
Bunch of crunch. Anywho,
we're very healthy, can't you tell?
So yeah, Linda's drooling over him. They take a walk to the beach. He decides, hey, do you want to go swimming? And she's like, yeah, let's go in the ocean.
But wait.
Yeah.
Not to stop us from moving forward. and I know I've already technically made this comment, but so Linda also comments on how your transformation is amazing. Linda, girl, how are you not trying to figure out how the fuck he is doing this? What do you think is happening?
I think people in the Tales from the Crypt universe, I'm going to assume they're all like in the same universe, they all just tend to be really quick to just suspend disbelief and just like, oh, sure, yeah, you went to a surgeon and got this done. Yep, that seems legit.
Well, how do you afford it? Where is this body coming from?
And also I have a theory that ties into later.
Oh, boy.
Okay. And also, while we're just not moving forward with the story, can we just talk about how upsetting it is? At this point, the actor playing Carlton is actually the actor who is playing Hans, but they're still using the actor who played Carlton's voice.
Yes, I was going to say something too. So, yeah, everything...
It's very upsetting.
It's upsetting, but also my comment is... Yes, this is all very impressive, like, special effects, but you know what else is super fucking impressive about this episode?
What?
The lip-syncing capabilities of Hans and Carlton together.
Yes, the lip-syncing abilities are quite impressive. Everything is going great. They're changing their swimsuits. Linda comes out looking like a dime piece in a one-piece Baywatch style.
Say this is straight up Baywatch episode.
It is. And she looks fun as hell. And she's looking in on Carlton and
his... Go ahead. I got a comment.
I know, you got feelings, but so do I.
Yes,
the juxtaposition is upsetting. He has the Hans upper body, and then there's a door cutting off the middle section, and then you see his pale, white, shriveled up, little teeny tiny old man legs. It is quite the shocker.
But here's... Okay, yeah, the legs are super pale. They don't match.
Yeah.
But they're not as veiny as I think she thinks they are.
Yeah.
I feel like he just needs a little bit of a spray tan, maybe some lotion, and it would be okay.
He also had like same bro. I could definitely see every day my kneecap starting to sag a little bit. He had the saggy knees and they didn't get real up close, but I imagine, like as we get older, our skin texture changes. So there's a distinct difference. And I also imagine it probably looked like, if you're a SpongeBob SquarePants fan, that episode where SpongeBob gets the inflatable arms. So he looks all buff. Yeah.
With the pink arms.
Yeah. And then he's just got the little teeny tiny stick legs still. I can only imagine what he would have looked like naked. And now I'm upset about that. Oh no. Yep.
Oh dear. So Linda makes another comment in how she's just so thrown off at how old he is. My man Carlton finally snaps.
Yeah.
And he's like, God, what can I do to make you happy?
And I've got her a direct quote.
Yes.
Which I respect. I know what I want, Carlton, and you just don't have it.
What do you want, ma'am?
She wants a young guy, and he's old. And now it's time to say goodbye.
No, this is the saddest part of the episode.
Carlton reveals that because how much he's going to have to spend on his surgeries, he can no longer afford his mansion, and he can no longer afford Fulton. And so they say a very painful goodbye. And I have it here that so far he's spent $3 million on his surgeries, because he spent $1 million on the face and $2 million on the arms and the legs. And we don't know if he had to buy any prescriptions, like...
I imagine you need some sort of painkillers for that
painkillers,
kind of
blood thinners, who knows? Well, probably not blood thinners, like maybe clotting, who knows? Because he's internally, he's still an old man. He's probably still got his medication. We know that mansions cost a lot to upkeep. It takes a lot to heat those places, the electricity, yada yada. But I was like, yeah, that's a lot of money he spent, and he's about to spend more. But I'm like, you know what, Carlton? A sad scene where you can no longer afford to live in a mansion and your personal butler. Do you hear that sound? Do you hear it?
Is it the world's smallest violin?
Yes, playing the world's saddest song for Carlton.
How sad indeed.
Yes.
Personally, if I had to choose between my butler for God knows how long they've been together and a big ass house, I'm gonna pick the butler, because there's no way, if I am as old as Carlton, would I be able to even begin with the upkeep of that house.
Right? I'm like, dude, Carlton, start budgeting, you know, like move into a small, downsize your home. Maybe you and Fulton become roomies, you know, little buddy
Fulton
comedy.
Totally lives there. He has
He totally does. Yeah, oh, he takes care, like, around the clock care of Carlton.
And we're back to the basement of doom from Red Flag Manor second.
And the doctor declares that it will be $3 million for the new legs.
Which is very confusing to Carlton, because if it's $1 million a limb, why isn't it $2 million instead?
Because it's $1 million per leg and another $1 million for the,
third limb, yes. Now, the best part about this scene is when we get there, the creepy-ass doctor is cutting sausage.
He's cutting sausage. And at first I was like, okay, so it's a leg joke. And then when they, you know, reveal like, hey, Carlton, you want to be a tripod, don't you? And he's like slicing the sausage. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of important, isn't it?
That's upsetting.
But he decides that he has to go through with it to get the final surgery.
Yes.
Which also happens to be all the money he has left in the world.
But apparently, Linda is worth it.
I would strongly disagree. Whatever.
Bro,
Live your life, bro.
Yep. So he has the surgery, and we get man butt.
It is a nice looking man butt.
Which brings me back to the whole leg thing when Linda was like, ooh. Like, okay, imagine that ripply torso and blah, blah, blah. And then he turns around and you have a little wrinkly, saggy man butt. And also, not to be graphic and gross you out if you're eating, I'm sorry, but like, you know, the
dick.
No, the testicular region, those drop as time goes on. So at Carlton's age, those things would be hanging and swinging low. And I'm sure the doctor was just far too polite to mention that. I'm sure he gave him a ball tuck.
Probably.
Otherwise,
that's why they had to spend the extra $1 million on the limb. Like, it was everything. That is the third limb.
That's true. I mean, they could have left Hans with his testicles intact because he did only say penis.
I would assume. Okay.
Let's get scientific here for a minute. I don't know that it, I mean, one, I don't.
Aren't they connected?
Ish. By like tube, like by internal tubing. Yes.
So.
I mean, but you can disconnect that and reconnect.
I would assume that the balls would be included in this limb situation.
Yeah, but if he specifically genetically breeded Hans... Okay, yeah, we're getting deep here. If he specifically genetically breeded Hans for the muscle man stock, there's no way he's going to give that sweet, sweet sperm to Carlton.
True, but since he is a mad scientist, wouldn't he just have the DNA and, like, the sperm to recreate him?
But then if Carlton ends up getting with somebody else, he's going to be donating that Hans sperm that's still left in there for free.
Now, okay, follow up.
Yeah.
Because it's
been a while since I've had sex education, so my science might start to get a little off kilter here.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so in this episode, Carlton is still Carlton, Hans is still Hans, but the skin is different.
Yes. But
so doesn't that mean that technically then, not to like go against everything I said earlier, but wouldn't that mean that like Carlton would have Carlton's sperm and Hans would have Hans's sperm?
Depending, because like, so here's the thing, when it comes to the peen, again, I'm really sorry.
I'm not.
You're not gonna, you may want to bleep some of this out, but like, think about trying to skin a hot dog, bro. Like, you gotta take the whole hot dog.
Oh, I
like,
have a hot dog in the
detach.
fridge. Do we want to do some science?
I'm pretty sure that would get us banned from TikTok, and Instagram. But so I'm pretty sure you had to take the whole frank. And here's the deal. Like, I mean, he could have taken the skin from the beans, but I mean, if you're taking the frank, are you just going to take the beans too? Like, so that's why I feel like it might have been just easier to take the frank, do a little bit of a tuck on the existing beans and leave Carlton with the internal beans and the external sac for the beans and just do a little bit of a snip tuck since you're already there doing some surgeries. Or maybe he peeled him like a glove from the bottom down. There's a lot of questions I have about how these surgeries worked, but
if you're a doctor or have any
If you actually went to college and you know how wrong we are about things, feel free
to leave us a review.
Yes, or shoot us an email and we'll read it during the next episode.
You can email us at campcreeppodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, okay. So
and we're back to the episode. I'm so sorry.
We're almost done, so that was by far our longest detour.
It was worth it.
But we've had feelings and science. Lots of questions. So this time, because he's got no Fulton, he drives himself in his fancy man-mobile to Linda's apartment.
Only to find out that Linda's not there. There's like a cleaning crew and there's some landlord dude and he's talking to Carlton like, oh, are you interested in the apartment? And he says, no, I want Linda. And this dude just happens to have her address written on a piece of paper. And he's like, oh, you want this? And he's like, it's going to cost you. But Carlton just takes it and runs off. Like, whoa. There are some other issues here. But I guess we're not going to get into those.
Some red flags there. Like, way to be like, the landlord doesn't even try to chase him down or anything. He's just like, okay, sure, whatever. Take her address. Potentially creepy stalker who's going to go hunt down Linda and murder her. Come on.
It's partially exactly what happens. But not until we...
without the murder.
Yeah, no murder. But then we have another random, unnecessary part of the episode. When Carlton gets back to the car, it's covered with these young punks. And they're trying to get a ride.
Quote unquote.
They want his car. They want to take his shit.
And they threaten to beat him up. And I think this was solely in there so that the actor who played Hans could get his little bit of an action hero moment, because he beats up one guy, he throws, like full on, like tosses another one a good 5 to 10 feet. I don't really do well at guesstimating measurements, so.
So Carlton gets to kick ass, and I think that might have been the only time in his life he's ever been able to defend himself.
Yeah. So in typical delusional stalker fashion, Carlton makes his way to Linda's fancy new penthouse apartment.
And this poor dude, butler guy, what would he be?
Doorman.
This poor doorman is trying to stop him, and Carlton's like, I'm looking for Linda. And he's like, but wait, you have to be announced first.
Yes. And I was also like, dude, probably there's 50 Lindas living in that building. Be a little more specific. So he forces his way up into the elevator. He's pounding on Linda's door in her beautiful new apartment full of antiques and...
rich. It's just very rich and bougie.
Decadent.
Ooh, that's a way better word.
Yeah. And Linda is comes to the door wearing a beautiful robe reminiscent of Catherine Delish robes.
Oh my God. One day.
Yeah.
One day, universe. I will own one. So will you.
Yes. If you've never looked up, I mean, God, if she starts accepting Klarna or Afterpay, I am doomed. If you've never looked up, if you don't know what we're talking about, look up Catherine Delish. It's a D apostrophe Lish. They're beautiful. Linda's is silky and it's not as flowy as the Catherine Delish, but it's very like, oh dear, officer, my poor husband had an accident.
He fell down the stairs and I had no idea. He had $1 million life insurance policy. My word.
Yes, it's very, very reminiscent of that. Linda's looking very fancy. So Carlton is like, Linda, look. Brand new body, head to toe.
I did it all for you. Will you please marry me? And one more time, Linda says no.
Turns out, current deal breaker.
She's already married.
Plot twist.
Oh no. What? But to who?
And she reveals that her biggest priority, what could have overlooked a lot of flaws.
This entire fucking episode could have been 5 minutes long.
Right. Again, communication, not lying to your partners, goes a long way, is money. She really wanted to never worry about being poor again. She was looking for a partner who could provide for her and give her the kind of life that she felt that she deserved.
And she met a wonderful rich man named
Hans. Yes, ancient Hans walks out wearing Carlton's skin, which is upsetting.
But to make matters even worse, so while those two lovebirds are loving upon each other, Fulton walks out with cocktails for them.
Hans poached Fulton. So not only did Hans steal his skin, he didn't steal, they exchanged, and money was exchanged for the goods, but then he poached his butler. Although I am happy that Fulton found a happy ending. I have a note here that says, did Carlton not have an employment contract with a non-compete clause that he made Fulton sign?
How many millionaires are really in this area, though, that want a butler, I wonder? I feel like they already have one, right?
Well, butlers die under mysterious circumstances with a candlestick in the library, so, you know.
It's always Colonel Mustard, BT dubs.
But wait, it gets worse.
Hearing Hans' laugh coming out of Carlton's body is unsettling as fuck.
It's deeply unsettling because Hans has a very douchebag laugh, which is just kind of on its own would be like kind of annoying and like, kind of a turnoff. But then to see it come out of this elderly man, like the voice and the body not matching up at all, and like, it's just deeply unsettling. And I was like, ugh, Linda.
You.
Yeah, I don't know how Linda does that. Like, that would be, I don't know.
Then we're back at the crypt. I'm pretty sure that the crypt keeper killed Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm pretty sure that's Arnold's body on the desk slab thing.
Yeah, it's very obscured, so really you only see, like, the hand, but the crypt keeper is embalming a body. You see him with a big barrel of embalming fluid. The crypt keeper then has a classic quote, and all you older listeners out there might get this reference. He says, "We want to pump you up."
Is that like a jazzercise reference?
No. Oh boy. I feel ancient now.
I'm sorry.
I have it written down because I figured you would have no idea what this reference was.
Oh, wait, no, give me a second. Give me a second.
Okay.
I can't think of his name, but in the 80s, he had the suits and the videos and very curly hair. No, not related to what's his face.
So this is referencing a long-running sketch from SNL from the 80s and the 90s. Hans and Franz. It was Kevin Nealon and Dana Carvey, and they were basically like ribbing on Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that was their little motto, their little catchphrase. We want to pump you up. And they would be walking around wearing these like muscle suits, and they'd be talking about girly mons, and they even had like the little gap between their teeth like Arnold. It was a really big deal when Arnold Schwarzenegger guest starred on SNL and got to be in the Hans and Franz sketch. So yeah, so that is what that reference is, in case you're wondering. Feel free to look up those sketches. Disclaimer, I haven't watched any in a long time, so don't know if there's anything problematic in them, so don't come for me.
We are very excited to tell you all about our new ghoul friend over at High Tea Distributors.
High Tea Distributors is a woman and queer-owned small business out of Berks County, Pennsylvania.
She started by making herbal tea blends with hemp flowers for her family members, and now, 1 year later, she specializes in herbal teas, bath products, and is always working on some new blends to pair with other herbs you like to smoke.
Well, you're not ganja believe this, but I just ordered us the tea sampler, which includes 12 tea bags, 2 bags each of the most popular hemp teas, all containing healthy doses of either CBD or CBG.
Well, I'm excited. I've got high expectations.
I'm looking forward to trying some new teas with my best bud.
If you're feeling green with envy, you can check them out now on Facebook and Instagram, or at www.highteadistributors.com. Use promo code CreepItReal for 20% off your purchase. That's promo code CreepItReal for 20% off.
It's time for everybody's favorite segment. Who's that ghoul? Doot. All right. So, as we discussed earlier, this episode was directed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. This was his directorial debut.
Very nice.
Yes, and he later went on to direct Christmas in Connecticut, a TV movie in 1992.
Was it a Hallmark movie?
I have no idea, and he never directed anything again. If you're not somehow familiar with Arnold Schwarzenegger, first of all, my apologies that you've been living in an underground bunker for your entire life, or are 5. But he is a world-famous retired bodybuilder, a very famous action star, well known for being Conan the Barbarian, the Terminator. Come on.
He's in government nowadays?
Yeah, He was the governor, former governor of California. He stepped down in 2011.
Oh, okay. I just remember when he was running, because I was in high school, and we were all kind of like, yes, good.
And next up, William Hickey, who played Carlton Webster. William got his start with some small parts in TV and movies in the 50s, including, you know how I love finding these random weird roles. He played the role of the drunk in the 1967 version of The Producers.
Oh.
10 out of 10 recommend watching the 67 version of The Producers. Seriously. But our campers may know him from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation as Uncle Lewis, the old man who sets the Christmas tree on fire with his cigars.
Oh, no.
Yes. But you, ma'am, would know him. And it's funny, when we were watching it together, you kept commenting on how much you hated his voice.
Yes,
and
okay, so before you tell me what he's from, I want to make some guesses.
Okay, go ahead.
Because you got really excited, because I did mention, like, his voice creeps me out.
Yes.
Are you about to tell me he is somewhere in The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so if he's... Now I have to imagine everybody...
Once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
That's why I want to make some guesses.
Yep.
Is he Dr. whatever, how you say his name?
Yes, he is,
quote
unquote, evil science is how he's credited. Evil scientist. Yes, he is the evil scientist. And once I heard it when we were rewatching it, I was like, oh my God, I can almost hear him saying, Sally. Like, you know. Yes, that is him, the voice of the evil scientist from Nightmare Before Christmas.
I was like, you're going to tell me it's something Nightmare Before Christmas related, and I know it's not Oogie Boogie because he's my favorite.
Yes, no. I was so excited when I found that out. Sadly, this is a little bit of a... This Who's That Ghoul is a little bit of a bummer because a lot of people have passed away. Sadly, he did die June 29th, 1997 at the age of 69 in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which means, like, so in 97, he was 69. This episode came out in 90?
Yeah, that sounds right.
90? So, I mean, he would have only been, like, 60-ish. Which I'm like, man, he looked 90. Okay, so use sunscreen. First of all, aging is natural and normal, but also... Yes. Use your sunscreen, drink water, take good care of our bodies. They're the only bodies we get.
Unless you're Carlton.
Yep. And just remember that getting old and getting wrinkly is a natural, normal part of life. And then we have the beautiful Linda, played by Kelly Preston. Kelly Preston is the late wife of John Travolta.
Oh.
Yes. She got her start in the 80s on TV. Then she played Roseanne in the Stephen King classic film, Christine.
Ooh.
And this is one that got me because I loved this movie as a kid, and I don't know how I didn't remember this. She played Tish in the 80s classic Space Camp, okay?
What?
I was obsessed with Space Camp, always wanted to go to Space Camp. It's a movie about some people at Space Camp. They get in a quote-unquote simulator, and somehow they accidentally go to space. It's been a while.
Okay, but did you know you can go to Space Camp as an adult? There's an adult version of Space Camp.
Okay, you'll be sending me the link later because that's probably going to be a next year thing.
Okay.
I will be going to Space Camp, thanks. But I was like, how did I not know? Like, you think that would be a core memory as a kid, somebody having the same name as me being in the movie Space Camp. But she went on to have an incredibly successful career. One of her final roles, she played Victoria Gotti in the John Gotti movie, but she sadly passed away after a 2-year battle with breast cancer on July 12th, 2020 at the young age of 57.
So just barely over a year ago.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was very, very tragic. And I honestly had no idea she was sick. I mean, I don't keep up on John Travolta and Kelly Preston's lives, you know, but yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere.
That's a lot of dead people. And I know we're not even done.
Yep, nope, we are not done. Up next, Roy Brocksmith, who played Doctor. We know good old Roy. He played Vic the bartender in Season 1, Episode 1, The Man Who Was Death.
Yep, and then he was in another episode too, correct?
Mm-hmm. He'll appear one more time in Tales from the Crypt. And he passed away December 16th, 2001 at the age of 56, which means 2001, which means he was only like 46 when he filmed that episode. And again, like, it may have been the way they styled him. He just looked so much older.
As the mad scientist?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we have Rick Rossovich, who played Hans. So he got his start doing small parts on Fantasy Island in the 70s, switched over to film, and in 1984 starred alongside Arnold in Terminator. Yes, he was Matt, the boyfriend of Sarah Connor's roommate. Arnold kills him.
Oh.
Yes. I believe he throws him?
That's amazing.
Which is maybe why they had him, like, get his little thing where he gets to beat up some punks, since his most famous role was getting killed by Arnold.
Oh, poor dude.
He went on to have small parts in films like Top Gun and Navy SEALs, but these days, he seems to be focusing more on just being a dad. Apparently, his wife's family lives in, I didn't write it down, but I noted it in my head, like Sweden, I believe. So they spend half their time in the US and half their time in Sweden, so the kids get to spend time with both families and get both cultures.
Oh, that's so lovely.
I know, and I'm thinking, like, dude, is that Terminator money that good? 'Cause damn!
I bet it is, though, because they're doing another Terminator movie this year, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, royalties are an interesting, the laws surrounding royalties are very interesting, and a lot of people don't get royalties. A lot of people get screwed out of it. So hopefully Hans, in one of the many very successful movies that he was in, hopefully he had to deal with some royalties.
Fingers crossed, sir. Fingers crossed.
And in the most fun name on this list, Ian Abercrombie played Fulton. He started in TV in the 60s, continued to work non-stop in TV and film forever. He had a reoccurring role on Seinfeld as the character Justin Pitt. Don't remember any of this, but I wasn't a huge Seinfeld person. For our younger campers, he was Professor Crumbs in The Wizards of
Waverly Place?
Yes, thank you.
I never watched it, but I'm familiar with the name.
I know that it's a thing that was on Disney, but it was way after my time of being into Disney. But interestingly enough, he's played a lot of servants in TV and movies. I noted this. He was a butler on the old soap opera Santa Barbara. He played a driver in Addams Family Values, which I now need to rewatch to look for him. He was a butler in the Jurassic Park film The Lost World and in the movie Inland Empire. And on the Adult Swim show Children's Hospital, he played a butler.
Okay. Have you ever watched Children's Hospital?
I have not.
It's fucking delightful.
Excellent. I will look for that. And you brought up Batman when we were watching the episode, and I just wanted to note that he played Alfred, Bruce Wayne's butler, in the short-lived series in the early 2000s, Birds of Prey.
Amazing.
Yep.
I love it when a plan comes together.
And there were more. Like, seriously, this man's resume was just dizzying. I couldn't even focus on some of the things to even just pull out, like, you know, oh, he was this one. Like, he worked like a dog. Another credit of note for me that I noticed, he played the wise man in Army of Darkness. If you know me, you know I love my Evil Dead, so that was exciting. Sadly, he also passed away January 26, 2012, at the age of 77. And for our hardcore horror nerds, I present to you J. Patrick McNamara. He played Dr. Thorne. He played the psychologist in Phantasm 2. And he was in the short-lived TV show Freddy's Nightmares, based on the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. He played Freddy Niles. I also noted he was in a movie called Dead Women in Lingerie.
I'm here for that. That's what I want to be when I grow up.
The thing is, I clicked on it because I was like, I have never heard of that. It looked like it was supposed to be serious, which I was like, ooh, if this were a campy film, I would be behind this.
Oh, no.
So that's it for this week's edition of Who's That Ghoul? All right.
Now, the important question. Tish.
Yes.
Did you like this episode?
I did. I'm give it 1.5 severed thumbs up. I take half a thumb off because some of Arnold's greenness kind of showed through some of the scenes, and that's just me being like a technically picky person. There were some things I felt could have been stronger, but for it being his one of 2 times that he's ever directed, and it being his first time, I'm very proud of him. Proud of you, Arnold. Good episode. Enjoyed the story. Definitely love a good morality tale. So, yep, 1.5. What about you?
I think I want to give it at least 1 severed thumb up. Maybe not that halvesies. It was a very predictable episode, which is fine. Like you said, it's a morality episode. But it wasn't my favorite story.
It was there was a lot of machoism, some toxic masculinity throughout.
So much toxic masculinity, a severe lack of communication. I appreciated Carlton's romantic side. I just wish he would have asked Linda, what are you looking for?
Exactly, because this whole thing would have been solved if he'd just been like, hey, Linda.
I've got shit ton of money.
I agree, and I know you were, when we were watching it together, you were dogging Linda on her shallowness, but to be fair, Carlton was a 60-something-year-old man pursuing a 20-year-old girl. I don't think he was in it for the intellect or all the things they had in common. He was after her because she was young, beautiful, she had a tight body. So, yep, that was it.
I'm not mad that she wasn't being vain necessarily. I wasn't calling her out on that. I was calling her out on just fucking tell him you're not interested.
Yes, that's very true. That this whole thing could have also been prevented by her saying, it doesn't matter what you do, I'm not into this. Although I have a conspiracy theory because at the end, her and Hans seemed very, they seemed to know each other quite well. And we don't really know how much time has passed between all of the surgeries. There's no indication. But my conspiracy theory is that they were in on it the entire time.
That would make sense because then how did they also find Fulton near the end?
Right. I mean, maybe he saw a job ad, butler wanted. Must be Britishy.
Was he British?
I believe he was. He had a very British air about him at minimum. I can't remember if he had a British accent or not, though.
I mean, we only watched it like 20 minutes ago.
Right.
I don't think he did. Well, definitely the airs, you're correct.
Yes, the air of Britishness.
So we do have another exciting announcement for you campers, especially if you happen to live in the Salem area.
We are headed to Salem, Massachusetts, September
2nd-ish.
Yes, we'll be there for Labor Day weekend. That's what I should have said. I should have counted on myself to know dates. We will be performing in the Great Burlesque Expo happening in Salem. Very excited. I'll be performing Friday night as a part of the Bordello Room.
And I will be performing on Saturday night as part of the main event. And we're going to be going on as many adventures as we possibly can while we're there.
Yes.
I am very determined to convince camp counselor Tish that we should get some sort of matching tattoo.
I'm thinking on it. There's something I want, and I think we might be on the same page. So,
yes.
But feel free to send us your favorite tourist traps in Salem. I love a good tourist trap.
Yes, but not the movie. We don't want don't want to see mannequins, please and thank you.
No, but I love, like, I don't care if it's like there's a cheesy witch museum, like, shut up and take my money already.
All right.
Yes, we're slowly building our wish list for things that we want to do while we're there. So if anybody has been and you've got some recommendations, also because we love food, we are accepting restaurant recommendations.
I have already started us a spreadsheet called Salem Trip 2021. I am making us a little bit of a schedule, whether Tish is aware of it or not.
We all know how well I do with a schedule. ADHD's a bitch.
Alrighty, campers. Thank you for listening to Camp Creep Podcast. If you would like to help us out, you can leave us a review.
And if you want to show your support, you can follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also find us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as Camp Creep Podcast, and on Twitter as Camp Creep Pod.
Special thank you to Steve O'Dockerson for our fantastic theme music. We'll see you soon, campers, and as always,
creep it real.